The story begins in the Modern Culture Exchange Club room. A boy says that he feels frustrated because after spending all his stones, he didn't get a single good character from the gacha. The boy named Kageyama Ryo, a third-year high school student. He irritably calls out to his friend named Yuta. Ryo sees Yuta getting cozy with a girl over there. Yuta appears to be hugging a girl, making Yuta surprised. The girl, who thought no one else was in the room, feels awkward and decides to leave. Ryo stops her and asks since when Yuta has had a girlfriend. It turns out Yuta has had a girlfriend since last month. Ryo feels sad about two things: his bad gacha results and his best friend, Yuta, already having a girlfriend. He feels left behind because he just wants to enjoy life as an otaku with his friends. He's worried his friends will graduate from the otaku world and leave him alone. The door then opens, and someone is seen taking Ryo's phone. A girl, who is Ryo's underclassman, appears. This girl arrogantly says that the reason Ryo isn't popular is because he does tacky otaku stuff. Ryo calls the girl by the name Asahi. Asahi suggests that Ryo should face reality. Ryo tells her to shut up. Asahi keeps mocking him, saying that Ryo escapes to the 2D world because he's not popular in the real world. She also laughs at Ryo's simple hobby. Asahi looks down on Ryo's favorite game character by saying that character is only popular because of her big chest size. She then sits down. The girl is introduced as Koinada Asahi, a first-year student. Asahi is also Ryo's childhood friend who lives next door to his house. And not just that. Ryo feels like he's always being bothered by Asahi. Ryo enthusiastically explains the greatness of his character, Seiren, whom he considers a caring goddess and an amazing healer. Asahi cuts him off, calling Ryo's otaku way of speaking disgusting and telling him to stop. Ryo asks why Asahi bothers coming to the club to meet a disgusting otaku like him, which Asahi answers by saying there are manga and snacks here. She adds that her presence gives a little color to the gloomy otaku room and tells Ryo to be grateful. This makes Ryo fall silent after hearing it. The Modern Culture Exchange Club. Although the name sounds like that, it's actually just an otaku circle. Yuta comes to apologize to Ryo for just now telling him about his relationship. Seeing someone come makes the atmosphere awkward for Asahi. Ryo complains about the rotten relationship between him and Asahi that he can't break off. Yuta suggests Asahi should join their club since Ryo is also here. However, he then leaves while saying that now it's Ryo's turn, thinking that Yuta has said something weird again. He also adds that there's a limit for people who are socially awkward. Ryo observes Asahi and thinks that although in front of him she acts arrogant and confident, in front of other people, she becomes awkward and can't make direct eye contact. Ryo knows that Asahi hasn't had many friends since childhood, and Ryo is the only one who pays attention to her. Ryo will graduate next year and hopes Asahi can get new friends. Ryo then asks if Asahi also wants to waste her youth as a loner, because being a loner for 3 years is tough. This makes Asahi angry because she doesn't want to be lectured by a disgusting otaku like him. She also retorts by saying that the number of years Ryo hasn't had a girlfriend equals his age, and if he doesn't realize it, Iyun around him will leave him, which shocks Ryo to hear. Asahi continues mocking Ryo, who became emotional after finding out Yuta has a girlfriend. Hearing that makes the wound that Ryo experienced even worse. He tells Asahi to mind her own business, and emphasizes that he doesn't need a girlfriend as long as he has his Oshi and friends. Asahi then thinks of one thing. She casually offers to become Ryo's girlfriend, but only if Ryo can win against her. The challenge is the Pocky game. If Ryo lets go or breaks the Pocky stick first, he loses. Ryo's why it has to be like this. Asahi says she's doing this because she feels sorry for the loner Ryo, and there's no way any other girl would care about him. Ryo falls silent for a moment. He then says that he has never once considered Asahi as a woman. That statement shocks Asahi greatly. Ryo also adds that the only one he's interested in is Seiren. Ryo thinks he shouldn't have entertained Asahi, who sometimes says stupid things. Asahi, who looks worried there. She then stands up. She says that precisely because Ryo doesn't consider her a woman, Ryo can do something like this casually. Asahi confidently states that she's more experienced and won't get nervous just because of Ryo. Asahi launches a verbal attack, mocking Ryo as a disgusting otaku, slacker, unpopular, and virgin. Ryo becomes very annoyed and feels like Asahi has gone too far. Asahi looks happy because of Ryo's reaction of panicking that much. Ryo decides not to let Asahi get a big head. He also decides to fight back and engage in Asahi's game. Seeing Asahi, who's already like that, he can't stand it anymore. Both of them start the Pocky game with serious faces. Ryo, who looks like his face, is slightly flushed, and Asahi, whose face still looks calm. As their distance gets closer, Ryo starts getting nervous, wondering why Asahi can be so calm. He notices the details of Asahi's face, which he thinks is pretty cute, with long eyelashes and a small face, which makes Ryo feel his heart racing. Asahi asks if Ryo is nervous, which is strongly denied by Ryo. Ryo thinks about what he's doing, since he's already accepted her challenge. Ryo starts panicking about this, and tries to think of pure things so he won't get carried away by the mood. He then gets surprised, seeing Asahi, who can't hold back, showing a facial expression that's very red and embarrassed. He then thinks of something, seeing Asahi's expression. Ryo asks in a teasing tone, "Are you sure you're not the one acting weird here?" Asahi immediately panics, making her face turn red, and breaks the Pocky stick. She loses her balance and falls in front of Ryo. Ryo asks, "What are you doing?" Asahi, who looks flustered, says that she wasn't thinking about Ryo. Asahi angrily says that seeing Ryo's face up close is painful to the eyes, and she was just holding back laughter. Asahi accuses him of thinking that Ryu might like her, which is confirmed by Ryo. Ryu declares his victory, but it's rejected by Asahi. Asahi, whose face is red there. The Pocky stick was broken in the middle. She also fell from the chair. Ryo asks who exactly did all that, and Ryu thinks that he has already won, but Asahi says not yet. With a red face and teary eyes, Asahi mumbles that she hasn't lost yet. Seeing Asahi like that, Ryo then smiles. He then apologizes because he feels a bit mean. He realizes that Asahi actually doesn't feel anything toward him, and there's only a girlfriend and boyfriend relationship in their game. Ryo advises Asahi that games like this should be done with someone she really likes. Asahi, who sees him, falls silent. Ryo then leaves, leaving Asahi behind. Asahi, who's still there. She looks embarrassed hearing the word "like" from Ryo. While holding the Pocky box, Asahi mumbles for Ryo not to just keep looking at 2D girls, and to glance at her sometimes too. The next day, on a bright morning, Ryo goes to school. He feels nervous because of Asahi's actions. He thinks that this is Asahi's way of venting. There's one more year before Ryo graduates. Asahi then comes and calls out Kageyama-senpai, telling him that his hair is still messy. Ryo feels like he can't avoid Asahi. Asahi offers to take his photo. Ryo decides to accompany Asahi for a while, until she gets her own friends. Ryo Kageyama is contemplating his future plan form. His first choice is Meitei University, while his second choice he hasn't decided yet. He thinks that now might not be the time to be a full otaku. Suddenly, Asahi Koinata appears and greets him. "Hey, Kageyama-senpai." Ryo realizes Asahi came again today. Asahi comments on her coming again today and introduces herself as Ryo's kohai and childhood friend. She adds that Ryo looks abandoned because Yuta-senpai is with his girlfriend. Ryo denies that he's abandoned. He feels Asahi really likes bothering him. Ryo realizes that the other club members are working part-time, so it's just the two of them. He thinks Asahi always meddles in his affairs. Asahi snatches Ryo's future plan form. She then looks at it. Asahi is shocked to see Ryo's first choice is Meitei University, which is an elite and very famous university in Tokyo. Asahi says that's impossible. She mocks Ryo, saying that places like that are only for people who are cool, beautiful, and stylish, which clearly isn't Ryo. She suggests that ordinary people and otaku like Ryu would be better off going to a local campus. Ryo, who has ambitions to enter a good school and get a high salary, feels annoyed hearing those words. Asahi gives a trick question using 2 dice. The question is, what's the smallest number you can get from the numbers showing on top? Ryo answers 2, but Asahi says his answer is wrong. Asahi reveals the correct answer is 1 because the question is a trick. The dice are actually stacked. Knowing that Ryo couldn't answer, Asahi happily calls Ryo stupid. Ryo feels annoyed because Asahi is really mocking him. Asahi says that questions like that are so easy even elementary school kids know, and if Ryo continues like this, he won't be able to get into Meitei University. Ryo then sees something. He picks up a piece of paper. He accidentally sees Asahi's test paper that got a score of 33. Ryo sarcastically remarks that Asahi is also acting smart. He asks how Asahi could get into this top school, accusing her of sneaking in through the back door. Asahi defends herself by saying that during that test, she was just unlucky, and if she's serious, she can get good grades easily. Ryu gives another challenge to Asahi, which is throwing 2 dice, calculating the probability of getting doubles. Ryu presses her by saying that since Asahi herself said it would be easy if she's serious, she should definitely be able to answer it. Asahi nervously answers, "Oh, of course." She then looks at both dice. She throws both dice and writes the results on a piece of paper. Ryo realizes Asahi is trying to calculate all possibilities one by one. This makes Ryo say that it's just a waste of time. Asahi gives up and says that life doesn't require mathematics. Ryu calls it a lame excuse and tells her to go back to elementary school because she can't even do basic arithmetic. To prove his ability, Ryo shows his latest test results to Asahi. The results show Ryo got a total of 488 points and ranked 2nd out of 260 students. Asahi is very shocked. Ryo firmly tells Asahi to never call him stupid again. Asahi, who clearly looks defeated there, and Ryo thinks this is enough to make Asahi understand. Ryo then scolds Asahi, saying that Asahi has never been good at studying since long ago. He asks why Asahi bothers to enter a difficult school if her ability has reached its limit. This makes Asahi feel sad. While crying, Asahi reveals her reason. She says, "The thing is, I wanted to be together with you." Hearing those words makes Ryo really shocked, and becomes confused by Asahi's confession, who suddenly acts cute. He wonders what's going on. Thinking that Asahi who suddenly became cute like this, Ryo realizes Asahi's reason. She forced herself to enter a difficult school, just to be able to be with Ryo. Ryo then teases Asahi, "How much do you really want to be with me?" Which makes Asahi very embarrassed. Asahi frantically denies, "That's not it, no," and asks Ryo not to get a big head. She reasons that she just feels safer if there's someone she knows at school, just in case she forgets something. Ryo then sighs. He tells Asahi to sit down first, and reminds her that Asahi still needs preparation for the remedial exam. Ryo calmly says, "I'll teach you." Asahi's heart pounds fast when Ryo looks at her intensely, and becomes embarrassed hearing those words. Ryo starts wondering whether to start from first-year material. When Ryo looks toward Asahi, Asahi then shouts, "Senpai, you idiot!" which makes Ryo say not to call him like that again. Ryo corrects Asahi's work harshly, saying problems like that should be solvable. Asahi blames Ryo's bad teaching method. Ryo thinks to himself that Asahi is not cute at all. At the test results announcement board, a girl sees her name in first place again. Her name is Maizono. Below her, in second place, is Kageyama's name. The girl mumbles, "Ugh, so boring."